to this channel again. So moving on to the next video of our e-commerce app here. So what we are basically doing here is what we have done till now is we have created our list of products. Let me just hot restart this app. Okay. So we have created our list of products. We have the images here, the name here, and the price here. So once I click on any of these items, it should take us to this page, which displays us the increment and the decrement counter. Okay, I guess I have some network issues right now. It's not loading, but that should be fine soon. And that doesn't affect our functionality. So let's go back here. So once I click here, once I click on this, it's not working. So let us add functionality to these buttons. So how we are going to do this, we are going to create two functions here. So first one will be add one item to basket. And what this is going to do is this is going to take in items on the basis of item. Now we are going to ask our cart first where it says an element. We are going to ask if element.id is equal to item.id. And if this is not true, it's going to return us a null. Okay, so what we are doing here is that we are asking if the item.id is equal to the element.id. So if the element coming from the cart, the ID for that element is equal to the ID for the item, it's going to pass in a value or else it's going to return in a null. So we need to save this value somewhere. So we are going to save it into our items and I'm going to name this in cart. So now we'll use if else statements to pass on the values. So if in cart is not equal to null, what we are going to do in that case is we are going to increase the quantity by 1. So in cart dot quantity, we are going to increase it by 1. Okay, and if that is not the case, what we are going to do is we are going to add the items to your cart. So we will say cart dot add and then we pass in the item. Okay, so we are done with this function over here. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create one more function which will remove items from the basket. Okay, my internet is working fine now, so the image has been loaded. So I'll copy and paste this. So I'll rename this function to remove one item from basket. I misspelled remove. Let me just correct that. Okay, so I'll need this thing here. I'll need the in-cart value. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the if else statement from here because we are going to make changes to that. So now here I will say if in-cart is not equal to null and in-cart dot quantity is equal to 1. So if that is the case, if in-cart is not equal to null and the quantity is 1, we will remove the item from the cart. So what we will do is we will say cart dot remove and the object value will be the item. And if that is not the case, we will be decreasing the quantity. So what we will say is we will say in-cart dot quantity minus 1. So we are done with both these functions here. So let us just implement these functions into our product detail screen. So we have our icon buttons here as we created earlier. This one is for add, this one is for remove. So inside the on press, we will use the shop provider and we will say shop dot add one item to basket. An item here will be the active product, active items. So similarly, what we are going to do here is we are going to say shop dot remove one item from the basket and the item here will be shop.active items. So now we have saved this. So let us just check this. Okay, if you see we are still working on it, but it's not making any changes happen. So let me just hot restart it. So what we have missed here is inside the inventory, we haven't used notify listeners here. So we need to notify listeners to make it available to the outside world. So let me just add notify listeners here quickly. All right, so now we have added the notify listeners. Let's just go here. Okay, so now if I click on plus, you can see that the item value is updating. So this is exactly what we needed. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to add a cart icon here so we can see what values, what details have been added. So I'll just go to my app bar, I'll add an action there. Okay, so inside the action, I'm going to use the badge. So badge is basically a package provided in Flutter. So I've already imported that into my pubspec.yaml. You can get it from pub.dev. I'll just run pub.get here. I'll just close this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a badge. So the badge will have a badge content. So the badge content is going to be a text widget, and this is going to take from shop dot get cart quantity. Okay, we don't have this function created yet, so let's head back over to our inventory and create this function. So this will say get cart quantity. So inside this, I'm declaring an integer total, which is initially 0, and I'll create a for loop to look for the value changes. So I'll create an integer I, which is 0, and this will be taking cart dot length, and this will be incremented. So what this will do is it would say total plus is plus is equal to cart, which will take in the index value of the cart dot quantity, and this function is going to return a total. All right, so we are done with this function here. Now let's head back over to our product details screen. So I'll just retype this. I will say shop dot get cart quantity, and this is in to be a string. So now once I do this, you can see that I have one here because we already have one item added. So let's make this more readable. So I'll add a child here, and the child will be an icon button. So I'm going to use an icon button so that we can move on to the card screen from this button itself. And we'll create the card screen in a while. So the child of, the icon here would be a shopping cart icon. So it will be icons dot shopping cart outlined, and on pressed we'll keep it null for now. All right, so we're done here. Okay, let's just add not on pressed here as well so that we can move on to the next page once we are done with this. So on pressed is going to take a navigator dot push. So the route is going to be a material page route, and the builder is going to be a context, and this is going to point to our card screen. And let me just finish this over here. All right, so we are done with this thing now. Okay, so that is going on, the extreme right. So let me just change the position of this badge here. So I'll use the position and I will say badge position dot top start. So I'll save this here now. Okay, you can see it's done. So now once I update the items here, you can see up here that this is also being updated. So this is how the badge is very useful when we are uploading anything, especially in cart. So this makes work easier even when you're using different messaging apps or things like that. It is very useful. So now, moving on to our card screen, we haven't created our card screen yet. So I'll just click here. Our card screen is blank. So let's get here and create our card screen. So we already have our app bar here. So I'll just create a body, and the body is going to be a list view dot builder, and this will need an item builder. But first, we'll assign it an item count. So the item count is going to be from the shop, and it's going to take in a cart and then the length of the cart. I'll also add a shrink wrap here, and I'm going to set it to true. All right. So now we need to add the item builder here. So what the item builder is going to do, it's going to take in a context and an index value, and then this will return. And what I'm going to return from here is I'm going to return cart. So we have a card, and the child of the card will be a list child. So inside the list child, we have a leading. So leading will be an image from network. So this will say shop dot cart. It takes an index and passes in the picture. Similarly, we say title. So the title will be a text, and this says shop dot cart, which takes in the index and passes in the name. And we'll have a trailing. So the trailing, we will need the, the increment decrement counter in the cart as well. So I'll just go to the product details screen. I'll just copy and paste this entire row from over here. So I'm just here. Okay, so inside I've copy and pasted the entire row. Okay, so now let me just go ahead and try adding a few items to the cart and see what happens. Let me just hot restart it. All right, so we are here. I have added some bacons. I'm adding some fried chicken. I'm adding some French fries. All right. So now once I go to the cart, okay, so we have some error here. Let me just see that. Okay, so the trailing widget is consuming the entire tile width. So what we will do is we'll wrap it inside a container and we'll give it a size. So I'm wrapping it within container. I'm giving it the width of, let's say, 170. So once I've done this, okay, so now it's very good here. We can see everything. It's all fine. So now if I click on this increment, okay, so you see the problem here, the increment decrement counter is increasing for all the things because we need to change this thing inside the cart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change everything for the text here. This should be taking values from the cart and not from the active items now. So what it will do is it will say us that the shop, did I make something wrong? Okay, so what we will do now is we will say that this particular container here will say that shop.cart. This will take in the values from the index and then pass in the quantity to string. Okay, so we are done here, but this is giving me some error. Let me just check that. So I have my icon button and everything here. This one is okay. All right. So I missed a parenthesis over there. So, okay. So now if I go ahead and update the quantity of a particular item, you can see that quantity only of that item is increasing or decreasing. All right. So this is how we are going to do this. And inside this, we don't need shop.active items anymore. We need shop.cart. And this will be passed as per the index and the same thing here. All right. So now let me just go ahead and hot restart my app. And let us start it from the beginning. If I go to this page, I add a few items here. The badge here is updating. Um, okay, so I add this here and then go to the hot dog. I add the hot dog here. I go here. Okay, you can see there are different items here. So that is 6, 4, 5. I make changes to this. Okay, so once I remove this item, You see, as soon as it is one and I click on the decrement, item is gone from here. Same happens with the other things as well. So this is exactly how we can make this functionality happen. And also, if you want to see the the icons, the badge icon everywhere, so we'll just do that. I'll do one thing. I'll just add these actions to every page on our app. I'll add this to the product list screen. Okay. So I'm going to import the library and I'm going to import our card screen. Similarly, with our card screen, we can do the same thing. So I'll import the batch library and card screen is already there. So now once I save this, you can see that we also have this icon here. So I hope this tutorial was useful for you. I mean, you would be able to solve some problems you have been facing or something that you were looking to learn in Flutter, something new. And the provider package again here is very useful. As you can see that we are using the getter items, the provider package and everything. It's making the information available to everyone, even outside of the app. I mean, not exactly outside of the app, but outside of the particular page. We don't have to pass in the information to the material page again and again. And at many a times that won't be useful. So let me know if any changes, if any feedback, or anything else you would like me to do on this app. I would be waiting for your comments, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit on the like button. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.